Hello, my peaceful and profitable entrepreneurs. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to be here. I realize I'm a little bit early, but I'd rather be early than late. And Audrey is going to join us today. She is local in Charleston. She owns the Lazy Millennial. So today we're talking all about mastering delegation so you can grow your business, because this is just a topic that I have seen with my clients and in my own business that really, if we are not delegating, we can't grow. So let me just see if I can invite her or how that works. Well, let's see. I don't know, maybe she'll just pop on here in a minute and we'll get going. But as always, I would love for you to ask questions, leave a comment, drop an emoji. We really want to be here to support you. So if you do leave a comment or ask a question, you'll be entered to win. I'm giving away my masterclass. It is 90 minutes, 4 ways to grow your business. So it is very robust. I love giving it to people. It is basically the framework and the foundation that I love to use with my clients. And it's just kind of these fundamental things that we can always go back to. So whether you are product-based or service-based, this is just a really great masterclass for you that you can use in your business. So if you comment or ask a question, you will be entered to win. Just a second. My dog is in here and she's pulling things out of recycling that I don't want her to chew on. So, as usual, I want to be here for you and get your questions and comments. So if you have any topics, I plan these weeks in advance, but if you do have anything that you want to hear about or, get, discussed, then we would love to have you. So let me just see if I can see if she's around. Not showing me. So we'll just hang out for a couple minutes, and if you're catching the replay on this, you might just want to skip through this, but otherwise I'll just kind of keep talking. I would love to know how y'all are doing today, so be sure if you're popping on, drop an emoji, tell me what's going on. The weather here in Charleston is beautiful, and it's just really nice. It's like scarily springtime, and it's early in March for what I always think of it to be, but I'm gonna enjoy it. But and I can go ahead and just start talking about my kind of journey with delegation, because I've been in business for 7 years now, and when I started it was only me, and it was just me for the first 5 years, and it honestly never occurred to me to have team members or to delegate anything. I was literally just kind of like keep my head down and do all the work and just plow through. I had young kids. I had a child in 2015, 2016, and 2018. So during that span of 5 years, I had like 1 to 3 kids at home with me at any time. I was working nap times and night times. Then we had lockdown, and so my husband was still working, but the kids were home with me and I was working, and it was just really crazy and bananas, and it just never occurred to me to like get support or have somebody help me with that. And so that's really part of what's allowed me to grow, is to get support and to delegate. And now we've got bookkeepers, we've got a social media girl, we have a website girl. So they really support me with, kind of getting everything out there. Obviously the bookkeepers are doing the bookkeeping piece, and I do the like meetings and coaching stuff with my clients. And then I'm creating all the content, and then the social media and the website girl help me to get it out there. Let me see if I can tag Audrey in here. Maybe I can tag her. Oops. I got tagged the wrong Audrey. Sorry. Another one. Tag somebody else. So we're going to get started in a minute. I don't know where she is. I'm sorry. But I know I was early. But going back to that conversation of that has really allowed me to grow so much, because if I was doing all of the bookkeeping for my clients, I would not be able to do these, high level one-to-one meetings. I would not be able to, get as much content out there. Like I write it and I do the pictures with it and all that, but like someone else is scheduling it. Someone else is posting the Instagram stories, like doing the countdown for this live. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. So if you're popping on, please say hello. So excited to get going today. And then Audrey, if you're jumping on, I think just like send me a message or request to join. Hey, you're here. Okay. What do I need to do? I tried to like tag you, and then when I invite group members to watch, you aren't showing up. So I don't know what to do about that. Can you request to jump on? Let's see. I don't know what other buttons to hit. No, Audrey, let me know if you... Yeah, Facebook is being weird, I know. And I used to have Zoom connected to Facebook, and now I lost that connection, and honestly, I just haven't made it a priority to try to fix that connection. So let's see. I don't know anything on my end. Let's see, I've got like a bar graph. I've got, polls. Nope, I can't. There we go. It's still dark. Guest request. So it says allow viewers to request to join your video. Wonder if I can invite you. Let's look. It's not pulling you up when I try to type in your name to invite you, Audrey. Nothing on your end either. Oh man. Let's see. It's not letting you to. I don't know why it won't let me let you, like, I don't know why it's not showing up as, like, trying to get you to, it's not even showing you as a group member, but I know you are. Okay, checking from her phone. So, I know this is so good. Audrey just has such a great energy. I mean, that's the only way I can say it. And so I think she is such a great person to talk to and have this conversation. Like, I can talk about it all day long. I love talking about it, and it's what I support clients to do. But Audrey just, this is what she does all the time. And she just has so many good things that she can bring us. So Audrey, let me know if it's giving you anything else. I don't know why it's not pulling you up for anything. Like when I'm doing the group member search. Ooh, bring them on video and invite. Okay, it's adding. Woo woo! Thank you. Adding. Let's see. It says it's adding you, Audrey. Still going. Now it like doesn't give me the ad. It says you're a viewer. Bring them on video.
Okay.
You're joining. You're there.
Hey,
Yay.
I had to like switch and get my thing. I didn't realize they changed it. You can't join from a computer.
Oh, interesting. Well, yeah. Thanks, Facebook. At least we're here.
I was like, it's been a minute since I've been like, okay, let me stop moving the camera every which way and get this going. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Audrey, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Join you.
Yay. Like, I've had so many iterations of hopping on Facebook Lives over the past year that I'm just like, whatever works. Yeah. Like, we'll just see how it works.
Like, well, good to know now that they changed it.
I mean, okay. We're just rolling with it. So I was kind of giving an introduction to delegation and why I love it in my business and why I support my clients with it, because I think it's so important. Just to give us a little background on you and like what you bring to the table, because you have such a great energy and this is your background. So please share that with us.
Okay. So let me start from my humble beginnings. Okay, for real though. I started my business back in 2018 as a virtual assistant, and I later turned it to an agency model, and it did not go as planned. I had about 7 or 8 women that worked alongside with me, but I could hardly delegate to any of them because I didn't have any proper stand operate procedures. I didn't know how to really effectively lead. And just pretty much every negative thing you can think of, or almost, let me say almost negative thing you can think of along the lines of delegation, I pretty much went through. So I decided to like start over in 2020 and started doing this. And now I teach about delegation, lo and behold.
Yay. I mean, who better to do it?
Right.
So I'm so glad you brought, I feel like the framework that I always look at things through is mindset, strategy, organize, implement. So I thought you brought up a great point to start with is the mindset piece of it. Like kind of that, and I know one thing that comes up for me and other clients I work with is that no one does it as well as I do, or no one can do it like me. What other kind of mindset things do you see come up with the clients you work with?
A lot of them are honestly afraid. They're just like, I don't want anyone touching my stuff. Like pretty much like you said, a lot of them is just like, I don't want them touching my stuff. Like I built this way and blah, blah, blah. But it's like we started the business not technically supposed to be our baby. We're supposed to let it go. So yeah, have to get over the mindset of like, this is my baby versus this is entity. This is how I'm making money. And I need to let go of stuff so I can effectively do what I like.
Right. It's that like CEO versus like, you know, what a lot of us were in, you know, corporate or worked for other companies, like an employee kind of mindset. And so stepping into that role of like, what does the business need from me? And not so much of like, I can't hand this over to anyone, but like literally, like, if I'm going to grow, what does this mean? So anything else about the mindset piece you want to talk about with that? It's probably the hardest hurdle to get over.
Yeah, it's
like,
really just, yeah, I'm sorry, I was talking right with you, but it's really just that. It's just like, it's a lot of mindset work, like stepping into the leadership role. Cause like you said, a lot of us kind of, even though we started businesses, we still kind of carry like the employee mindset. Like, yes, I'm here to serve. Like, I should be serving my clients a certain way. I should be doing this a certain way. And not thinking of like, I'm actual boss.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like writing it on a Facebook status. Like, I'm the real boss. I need to delegate this stuff out. I need to do this, that, and the third. It's just like that mindset switch. So I really like you brought the employee mindset. That's definitely one. And just honestly, just letting go. Like we don't let go. And I feel like especially women entrepreneurs, business owners I work with is just like, we feel like we can already need to do everything, especially because like home life and stuff and like bringing that to our business. Like we got to do everything here too. It's like, no, we don't. We can let that go too. So it's just that. Those are the two main mindsets working on.
And I also think of it too as like checking things off the list. Like I love checking things off the list, and that's something we really have to like work through as a business owner. And the CEO is like, yes, I'm not gonna like have everything on my list checked off. Like that's just, I'm gonna have to close out the day and there's still gonna be projects outstanding. But that delegation piece is like, okay, things are getting checked off that don't need me to do it, and it's still getting done. And it's that it's just the whole thing. So like, I'm so glad to talk about that mindset piece, because I know that that is like, it's always easier said than done. So I know getting support around that is just super beneficial.
Yeah. And it's awesome. It's just mainly just about knowledge too. It's just like, we don't know what exactly we need to do. Cause like, we're always told like, you need to delegate this out or you should pass it on to someone else. It's just like, okay, how do I do that? Like, it sounds like, yeah, like I pay somebody, but like, there's more to it than just paying, for the jobs. It's like, how exactly am I supposed to do that?
Yeah. And so that kind of goes into the strategy piece of this. Like, you know, from the high level piece, when you come in and start working with someone, or, you know, they reach out to you, you know, what are you kind of looking at first to like create that strategy to delegate?
Normally, I look at their operations from like set. So I usually just, I base everything off like a goal setting thing. So it's just like, look at the operations, like, okay, what are you trying to do for like the next month or 3 months? If they don't want to like think too far ahead, like, okay, what are you trying to do for this week? Like build off of that. So starting off with that, and then normally I'll look at like, okay, you're trying to do X, Y, Z. And you're thinking, most of the time people come to me because they're already like either hiring somebody or they're like at the bridge, like I need to hire somebody now. So like, okay, like wait, hold on, let's look. I'm like, okay, you're trying to do this and you're trying to hire this person. Like a lot of people try to hire for marketing, and it's not necessarily need more marketing. It's like, as we dig through, you realize like, oh, like you're getting enough marketing, you're getting enough people. It's just like you need to work on sales, or like you just need to figure out how to do better lead generation versus stuff like that. So it's just like, we look at like the goals and why they're trying to hire and figure out like, is this what you need right now? And if you do, cool, let's figure out like a process and give it to the person. If not, it's just like, okay, let's look and see what we can automate or what kind of system we can build right now so you can kind of stay afloat until you're ready to hire officially. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that because I know when we had talked like a long time ago, I was looking for a VA to like do invoicing and send that. And then when I went back to it and looked, I was like, I could just automate all of this and get everyone set up and I don't need to pay anyone to do it. And it was just like, oh yeah, I could do that. And of course my mindset was like scared too. Like, what are people gonna think? Like, are they gonna want me to bill them every month and like automatically, you know, draft it and whatever? And then all my clients loved it. They were like, yes, thank you. Like, we don't want to pay your invoice every month. It's the same every month. Like, so that is like such a great place to start. And having a business owner, like, look at everything they're doing and like taking a fresh set of eyes and looking back as like a third party. Like, is this necessary? Like, you know, do I need to do this? And then like, is there another way to do it? I think it's just really helpful, like to just look at your day that way. Think like, okay, how is this contributing?
I'm glad you brought that up. I was like, it's
overall
usually just that simple.
Yeah. And so like looking at like the process and like, okay, where's the kink in the hose kind of thing? Like, obviously I'm all about solving the right problem. And so figuring out like, okay, what is the actual process that we're going to have so we can have that set up correctly before someone comes in.
Exactly.
So then that kind of lends to the organization piece. So tell us a little about that next step. Like, you know, once you kind of create a strategy with someone, what are kind of some organizational pieces that someone can use or that you've found helpful?
Ooh, good. Okay. So once we figure out what exactly like the goals and stuff are, so I'll just use monetary. Everyone wants to try and hit like a monetary goal. So like I'll say once we figure out like what monetary goal they want to hit that they can realistically probably hit based off their services and stuff that they offer. Next we figure out like, okay, like we have this is the goal we want to hit. Next we got to figure out like the processes and stuff. So from the processes from that, we'll figure out like, okay, how exactly do you need to market? Who are you trying to market to? Of course, like how like the process for sales and like how are you the client journey, just figuring out all that stuff. So, like if they're trying to figure out money, we're gonna figure out all that stuff, try to figure out like a process for that. Usually I have to go through like each social media platform, whatever they're using, come up with a process for that. Like they're trying to use email, we gotta figure out a process for that. Pretty much you're just gonna do like the whole walkthrough as the person lead and go all the way down to like the finish line. So like after you complete the service, like are you hoping they continue on? Are they leaving? Do you need something afterwards? Or like how is that going to go? So we have to look at that. So pretty much we just figure out like the whole structure for that. And then we figure out which department is next. So like if we need like again marketing, we have to look at the marketing I call it department.
Yeah.
Look at the marketing department.
It might be a person.
Yeah. Like okay, so like if you're trying to do this, if they're trying to hire somebody for marketing, we look to see what kind of stuff they can do by themselves first. So like a lot of times it's just like they need to schedule social media posts or actually do them so they can schedule them out. So things like that. So like we'll figure out like a game plan for that. And make sure too, if they do decide they want to hire, like figure out the budget for that. Like, okay, like you're going to hire them for this. Just know contractors, you're going to only hire them for this. It's going to be this. They're probably not going to do X, Y, Z. So like make sure you have a backup plan for stuff like that. So like we have to go through all of that stuff. So a lot of times it's just a matter of making sure they have their own system set. So like I said, breaking down everything by the department and then making sure they have like a system set in place already. So whenever they do bring someone in, it's just keeping things afloat or making it better. Because of course they hire a professional. Like
building the plane as you're flying. Like,
that's exactly it.
So this process.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to hear your opinion, and you could totally disagree with me. One of my things is like pick and stick. So we're like picking a strategy and like creating the systems around that and going all in on it and letting it play out before we like add something else. So I'm interested to know, like, are you working that way, or you're like, yes, we are implementing like 5 different things at once, and you know, just because you can totally disagree with me, like it's totally fine.
Oh, no.
Like I'm just curious, like what's your kind of philosophy on this? Because it might be different than me.
Yeah, I would say I only try to do one main thing because a lot of times we try to give ourselves too much already. So like when I'm trying to say like, okay, we got to do this, that, and the third, they're going to be looking at me like, no. And then I work with a lot of business owners that have ADHD like I do. So it's just like, we definitely can't have too much going on at once or they will not do this at all. I know I'm the same way. Like I'll start so many projects and then I'll look at it and it won't get done, or like I'll execute it, but it'll be like half done. But yeah, just one thing.
Yeah,
I just tell everybody
here. I'm like, we can have that on deck. It can be,
right.
You can put it on an Excel sheet, put it in Trello, like park it somewhere.
Exactly.
Just because it's a great idea doesn't mean we need to do it at this moment.
Right.
But when you were talking about like the email and the posting and all this stuff, I was like, I didn't know like.
Oh yeah, it's just within that one thing. Yeah, sorry, it's with that one particular thing, like all the process. Just because it ranges depending on what the goal is and what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like way more in depth, so like we have to like map out each department and then make it for that one particular process. So it's just yeah, for the most part, it's just that one thing. So like if they're trying to promote something to get a revenue goal, like usually it's just like just that one platform. Yeah. You figure out the different outlets people are going to reach you from, add it to like whatever software stuff if they have one. Ideally have to make them get one, but have it so it's automated and then keep the process going. But yeah, normally I encourage them to do stuff first and then they hire like a specialist, so someone will probably like hire you. Like I'll help with the baseline, but like after that, it's like, all right, get yourself a specialist and they can really enhance it and you'll be on your way.
Like, let's build the foundation.
Right.
You gotta have a strong base and then build from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So are there people on your team that are helping you do this? Like, does everyone have like a specialty or how does that work with like the work that you do?
Right now, I just have people doing, so we only do like the process documentation and like helping with the videos and stuff. So like I have different people for those compartments. Normally I take over like the consulting side of it just because there's but so many ways I can like train people to do like consulting. Is just like either you got it or you're not catching it, whatever. But yeah I have people for different things, but like I have it to the point where they can cross train if needed. So like if they want to learn something else, I already have the stuff set so they can do it and I don't have to do it or worry about it. So
got it. Yeah, I was just like curious, like this is what we talked about delegations, like okay, how does that work in your business too with what you're doing?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I know you mentioned like videos, and I think that's a great piece too of the organization piece. So like I had a client that is doing something and she does it like every month, and so I was like, you know, go ahead and record a Loom video and go ahead and start like outlining the process. Like even if you're not going to hire someone for a while, like because you only do this every month, like once a month, like A, that's going to help you get really super clear on what you're doing, and B, you'll already have that process like on lockdown for someone else. So are there any other like tips like that you're like, yeah, like, you know, obviously do this along the way as you're doing it and record yourself doing it? Like what other kind of, I don't know, any hacks or fun things that we can know?
Yeah. So like I usually tell people to get into the habit of honestly each month doing like operational flow. Like I'll have them say like, okay, like review your goals and stuff that you did. And usually I have them. So let me start back. I have 3 components that I like focus off of the Lazy Millennial. So it's like document, digitalize, and improve. So like document is just getting stuff out from your head and written down somewhere or typed out somewhere or shapes, whatever you want to use. Yeah. And then digitalizing them is placing them in software and making sure they're accessible for like your future team. So like that stuff's already set. And then improving is just like you're constantly tweaking the process and stuff. So normally what I have people do is at least the bare minimum. I'm a notebook and pen person. So like at least writing out like, okay, this month I'm focusing on XYZ. Then I'm going to go ahead and figure out like the process for that. Like what exactly do I need to complete this job? So like just get in the habit of like taking down notes. It doesn't even have to be like sentences or anything, like just check boxes, whatever you want to do, write that down, put it off to the side. And if it's something that you are really like focusing on, like that's within like your quarterly milestone, then I'll have them like, okay, from there, just add it to like your planner or wherever you do to keep track of your tasks. Add that stuff in, make sure it's written down. And honestly, I just have them document because sometimes even with videos, some of them just don't. They're like, I know I need to, but I keep forgetting. I forget to. Yeah. But as long as you're just writing things down, honestly, that is the perfect first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then whenever you're trying to like go back to it or you like feeling like, oh, maybe I need to like hire somebody for it, like you at least have it already written down and you have like a process of how you're doing stuff currently. So like you can just go back and like, oh, let me tweak that a little bit. Let me try that. And then if you're consistent with it, you can just build off of that and you actually have processes. So now you can turn it to what I call digitalizing them and making it pretty and doing the videos and all that good stuff and adding it in. So yeah, just start.
And I love that, like we talked about like money goals and stuff. And then also like, I like to talk about process goals. So like it is sometimes with my clients, like a weekly, like, you know, did I do this, this, and this each week? Because it's like, we can't necessarily control outcome goal, like the clients or the revenue, but we can control the process, and we can see those breadcrumbs along the way that like, when I do this, this, and this, it gets me this. And so making sure that it's like, because the outcome goal can be just like feeling really far away or really like stretchy, but like when we see that like we do these little micro things each week, it builds momentum and it builds and it builds. That's what creates that pop that we get to like, okay, now everything's just kind of flowing. And so I love that you brought up like the process and like you know, having that kind of checklist, because that really helps business owners see like, you know, it's not just a task list on my to-do that I need to do. This is going to get me the result that I want. And so when I keep doing that, that's when I get that. So I think that's just like a great point that you brought up there. Anything else with that?
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's usually like low pressure, because when people hear standard operating procedures or documenting and stuff, it's just like, I know some people like, I freeze up every time I hear you say that. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that bad. But yeah, just starting off with that, or even just like, if you're like, I still am like, no, like I don't even document, like I don't even do the checklist or to-do list or something like that. Usually I just have them start off like for the week. Like, what are you trying to do for this week? And figure out like, sales is always like a big thing. That's why I always like bring it up. But like their thing is just like, I'm trying to get new clients. I'm like, okay, so what sales activities are you trying to do this week? So like just focus on the week at hand and just start getting the habit of getting a random notebook and writing down what you're trying to do, and pen and paper. Like you don't even have to put it on Google Doc or anything yet. Just write it down. And figure that out. And like for that week, so you can at least start keeping track of like, oh, this is how things are going. So just start small overall. If you get anything out of that, start small.
Yeah, and I know like our clients are probably similar and different. Like all of clients that are really like wanting to be in the spreadsheets and like project their revenue and really like break it down and get really granular. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And like, I want to do that. And like, what are you doing to sell to get there? You know, like we can talk about it all day and I can stand on the scale every morning and look at the number, but like, unless I go work out or eat right, like that number's not going to move. And so it's like, they get so fixated on like that. Let me calculate, you know, and I'm like, go do it. Like,
that's like, that's the biggest thing. Like even with documenting stuff or delegating, it's just like a matter of, are you actually doing the task that you're trying to hire for? Like if it's something that you're not aware of, it's like, do at least have like a game plan of how you want things to go. So that's like, it's iffy. But like with general stuff, like when people are fearful of like delegating, it's just like, they are using the process that you already have set. So it's just like a matter of, are you actually writing this stuff down, or are you not really confident in what you're doing? Like that's usually where that stems from. So like once that's clear, it's just like, oh, okay, like they're like ready to let go. I was like, okay, I got this. I'm like, I don't care.
Please take it. Yeah. That kind of like wraps us up to the last piece that I always think about is implementing. Like seeing that, like, okay, we went through mindset, strategy, organize, and now with the implement piece, like, do you see that be like, okay, we have to kind of go back to mindset and kind of deal with some more stuff there because they're having trouble implementing, or kind of like, how does that play out? Like, it's just like once I have it all ready, then I can go do it. Like, what's the...
It's definitely, because with some people, it's like, we'll do all the process. Like you said, like, we'll have it all set. It's just a matter of like something they'll overthink, like, should I do this or should I do that? So definitely mindset work is definitely needed, because it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, you're the leader. People are going to end up following you with these processes. So people are like, oh my God, like, should we try it out? It's just like, yes, like we can't do standard operating procedures until you actually try them out. So like once they get that in their head, it's just like, this is why with delegation sometimes it doesn't work either. It's just like, you didn't test it yet. So it's just like, you're giving it to somebody else to test. And then when it doesn't work out, it's just like, you're looking at them. When it's actually us we should be looking at, it's like, we should test this first. And then hand it to somebody, because we know like what to expect from that. But it's just a big thing, mindset, but definitely implementing your processes is a must in order for us to actually, when I say move on, because like I said, document, digitalize, for us to move on to the digital part, we got to actually implement them. So we can't do anything else until it's implemented.
Yeah, those are just like such a, like, it sounds so simple, and one of those
Yeah.
things that's easier said than done type of thing. So like, not to like, if anyone feels called out right now, like, we totally get it. Like, I've been there too.
Me
Um,
too.
so I always think of like doing, when you're handing over to something to someone, like sometimes we get to the point where we're so overwhelmed, we're like, please just take it all. But realistically, like, probably, and you can speak to this probably more than I can, but like just doing that, like, one task, like getting them really clear on that one thing first, and then again, pick it and stick it, like get them really good at that before you hand them everything.
Exactly.
And make sure it's like a really good fit before you're like, okay, let's add on. I mean, have you, like, I guess that's what you tell your clients, and that's what y'all are kind of doing first, like baby steps with.
Yeah, definitely. Because like, you don't want to give them the whole, like, whoever you're delegating to, it's like you don't want to give them too much because they get overwhelmed. And that's another reason why people will leave, like contractors, and people like, she left when I did this. It's just like, yeah, you gave her like 3 different jobs that don't even like correlate to what you need. So yes, they did leave. So but yeah, just making sure we give them one thing, or even like 1 or 2 things depending on what it is, but like make sure that's hammered out first and you're good, y'all are both comfortable, and then you can start like adding in and seeing like the scope of work and stuff. But yeah, that's also, I'm glad you brought that up. That's also like another thing. It's just like making sure they stay with what they hired the person for, because sometimes like that scope creep comes in, but normally it just comes in because they're just either really excited, like, okay, I can let go of this, and this, and the other person's just like, I didn't sign up for this. So it's just like, stay calm, like, we're focusing on this, we're using this for your goal. Like, having them do all of this is not going to even go towards the goal anyway. So this, keeping them focused. It's just a lot of documenting stuff and keeping people focused so we can actually keep it updated.
Like, intentional, like, that's the word that comes up for me. It was like intentional, because I think that's where, like, as business owners, we get that shiny object syndrome, and we're just like chasing the next thing. And just being, and you give such a great container for them to be intentional about it. And then, something that comes up is also like, it costs money to delegate, and it costs money to hire you or me or anything like that. And so I always think of it as like, the delegating is like, you go out and do a revenue generating activity, like, that's kind of that trade-off. Do you want to speak to that with kind of the work you do?
Like, what I consider revenue generating?
Well, like, if someone's going to delegate and you're like, okay, if you're going to delegate this, like, you're going to go out and do revenue generating stuff to replace that task that you were doing, kind of thing. Like, is that
definitely, like, any type of delegation should be like a strategic move inside business. So like, if they're doing that, that's normally what we do, like, in the process. Like, okay, if you're trying to delegate this out, like, outside of, like, of course, getting stuff ready for like the team member, like, we got to figure out, it's just like, okay, once they are doing this task, like, what exactly are you doing? So normally we have to figure out what exactly is their revenue generating task, because sometimes they don't know that either. It's just like, they've kind of been like just posting and coasting, and it's just like, there's no real strategy to that. So it's just like, all right, we got to get back operational flow. We got to figure out what exactly we're doing. So you have this daily, you know what to do daily for that. Or like, sometimes they hire because they want to relax more or actually take time off. So it's just like, okay, if you're going to do that, then we got to make sure we have your schedule set. So like, what kind of schedule you try to do? So that way, if you're actually gone or taking a day off or half day, whatever that looks like, what is that other person doing? Like, are they going to be covering for you? Are y'all both not working on these days? Like, how's that look? Like, little things like that is usually what we have to figure out first, and just make sure it's implemented and actually being done.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because it is like, obviously you don't have to like delegate to someone and then go do more work, like, I like to think of revenue generating, but you can just like, okay, I'm going to go get my kids early or something like that. But just like setting that intention of like, what does this get me type of thing? Like, kind of what's the trade-off there? And so you're not paying someone to just like constantly redo a website, or like things like, in the grand scheme of things, aren't going to move the needle forward. And I have a website girl monthly, but she makes like a new landing page for us. So it's not like I'm like changing something every month. But like,
that goes towards something.
It's going towards something, but it's when people are like, oh, I just need this thing redone all the time. It's like, okay, let's just, like, you could pay someone to do that, but looking at it as like, what's the trade-off for this, and what's the result? So I think it's great that you're like setting that intention with them of like, you could pay someone to do anything, but like, doesn't kind of like get you your time back or get you more money, you know? So like bringing that into like always the kind of like equation of what I'm going to delegate, or do we just ditch it? You know, like,
that's exactly what it is. Like oftentimes they dig themselves into the hole, which I've done myself too. It's just like I'll delegate, and then it's just like I never had any real plan. So like even if they did do work, it's like either it's not to the way I want it done, or like I'm just still working alongside with them and I'm supposed to let them go. It's like, yeah, it's a mess. So yeah, that's why it's part of it.
It's like just so normalizing to have this conversation, because we've both been in business for years and we've both worked with, you know, countless clients behind the scenes with us, and it's just so like I want us to be, you know, permission giving to someone out there, or just like normalizing that, like, yeah, we've all done this stuff in our business, and like it's just part of being a business owner, like, you know,
like live and learn.
Yeah, like new level, new devil, but sometimes it's kind of new level, same devil, but kind of always working through your own same stuff, because that's what business is, a big lesson in self-development. But anything else you want to add? How can people find you? I know you're kind of everywhere, so I'll let you like
yeah, so the last thing I would like say is whenever like if you're thinking about delegating right now, I would just tell them like these little tidbits. Just one, make sure that you are clear on why you're wanting to delegate. So like that's the main thing. Like even before process stuff, like why am I hiring this person? And then two, like figuring out like, can I actually like build something off of this? Like, is this already automated and I actually need someone to actually monitor the automation, or do I just need to simply automate something, or just add something in software, call it a day? And then three, when it comes to process documentation, just making sure, because again, process, making sure it's a step-by-step action the person's going to take, and just drafting that out. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, because again, it needs to be implemented in order for you to actually be able to do like a true SOP and stuff. So draft that out, you're good, and just give yourself grace, because it's a lot of trial and error. Because it's like you can do all the things, but at the end of the day, trial and error, making sure you mesh with the person. And as far as finding me online, pretty much the lazy millennial everywhere. You can find me under as Adriana Richardson. I mainly hang out on, I'm gonna say, well, I'm on Instagram. I'm not on it that much this month, but you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Definitely, LinkedIn is my stomping ground. And
are you on Clubhouse still? I know you did Clubhouse.
No, I haven't been on in months. Yeah, I used to be like really. I used to love it, but like it's I don't know. I just don't anymore.
Because I looked into it because of you, and then I was like, I can't add anything else. Like,
like it got old very quick. And then like once everyone started doing like the in-person networking again, like I've been going out myself. So it's like I don't really need it much anymore. So yeah.
Well, good to know. So thank you so much for joining us, and you know, I really appreciate you being here, and you're just so fun to talk to and such great energy. It's always such a pleasure. So thanks again, and
awesome.
Be sure and catching the replay, comment, ask Audrey questions. We'll definitely make sure we get anything answered that you need help with. So that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Okay, guys, y'all have a great day. Thank you again, Jordan.
Thanks, Audrey.